Welcome back to Making Money Matter, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Kerry Stevenson. And in the news today, well, it was actually 2 days ago, but never mind, there's some exciting news out of St. George Mining. So I've asked John Prineas, he's the founder and executive chairman of St. George Mining. The ASX code is SGQ. Now, St. George, when I first came across them, were in nickel and lithium in WA. Since that time, they've found quite an interesting, huge project over in Brazil. It's called the Araxá Project, and it is niobium and rare earths. And you all know, all of you out there know, rare earths is hot at the moment. The US is looking at supply. There's only, I think, and John will correct me if I'm wrong, I think there's only 3 producers of niobium. And I think St. George are planning on becoming the next one to hit the market. So it's a very exciting time. Also, we're going to get into this. I'm not going to take away his thunder, but some very, very good, strong strategic investors have come on board. They've raised some funds recently, but I'll let John tell you all about that, ladies and gentlemen. John, welcome to Making Money Matter. Great to see you, and congratulations.
Thank you, Kerry. Lovely to be here.
Now, John, first time on Making Money Matter. I did mention in the introduction you were nickel and lithium, but you're now firmly focused on this project in Brazil. Talk to our audience about it and why. Not only are you excited about it, but you've also put your hard-earned money into the project as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a focus on lithium and nickel. Unfortunately, those commodities have had big supply responses, shattering the commodity price. But we love critical metals. We think there's a big future worldwide for critical metals. So we pivoted to 2 commodities we think have much better market dynamics. Niobium, as you said, there's only 3 primary producers in the world. The supply concentration is amazing. And our particular project has an impeccable pedigree right next door to CBMM, the world's biggest niobium producer. So we're very confident we can come to market very quickly with the niobium mine. And of course, rare earths, we're already emerging as one of the biggest and highest grade rare earths deposits in the world. And as you said, the world is showering money on rare earths projects around the world. MP Materials in the US, Pentagon and Apple are giving them billions of dollars. Our resource is actually the same tonnage as MP Materials at Mountain Pass. So we're drilling at the moment, hoping to increase it even further. So very exciting time for us.
Look, it is an exciting time, but explain to us about, because some people say, well, Brazil, what's it like? I want to find out a little bit about the project. Before I go into funding and strategic investment, just talk to us, if you like, about the project working in Brazil, but also the project itself. In other words, what's the infrastructure like? How you said just a moment ago, you're going to come to market quickly. So I'm assuming that means that there's good infrastructure around.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a real point of difference to our project and the other emerging niobium and rare earths developers. We're right next door to CBMM, which has been operating their niobium mine for more than 40 years. On the other side of our project is Mosaic, New York Stock Exchange listed, very big fertilizer company with a big phosphate mine. So all the infrastructure we need is there: roads, railway, electricity, low-cost hydroelectricity. Araxá town is 5 kilometers away from us. They live off the mining industry. We're already getting job applications. So all the infrastructure we need is in place. We have actually hired a lot of ex-CBMM staff and also some ex-Mosaic staff. So people are very familiar with that area. People know all about niobium mining, niobium products. So that again gives us the opportunity to go very quick to market and develop this project.
Some people won't have a clue what niobium is. So could you just tell us about it and why it is important and why you guys think that this is going to give a lot of shareholder value in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a super alloy. It's used for strengthening steel, used in pipelines, special construction projects, also used in military equipment, unfortunately. It's used on the cone of missiles. It gives them heat resistance, less corrosive properties. It's really being stockpiled right now for military equipment in the US. The Department of Interior in the US recently put out its top 10 critical metals. Niobium was in there. And it was actually rated number 2 in terms of importance to the US. If US was denied supply of niobium, it would have the second biggest damage to the US GDP. That's niobium. That's how important it is. Not very well known, but extremely important metal.
Given what you just said, is the US government, have they come down and taken a sneaky little look, and have they made any indications of this is a very important project, we're interested? And listen, I know they're throwing money at projects. Are they looking at your project quite closely?
Yes, they are. We actually announced about 3 weeks ago, we met with US trade officials at the Exposibram conference in Salvador, Brazil. They're very interested to take the discussions further. They want to do a trade agreement with all of Brazil, but specifically they're interested in our niobium. We are the only non-Chinese aligned niobium developer at the moment with a near-term production capacity. The first two, CBMM, is already owned 15% by Chinese. Second biggest producer is China Mining, which is obviously Chinese. So US is very keen to have a chat to us about aligning supply chains with us.
Interesting that they want to align, but let's talk funding now. As I speak to you today, you've had some really strong, you've just done a recent capital raise. Talk to us about that. Don't want to steal your thunder, but one of Australia's most well-known identities has come in as a strategic investor. To me, which is why I wanted to talk to you, that signals that this project, they do their due diligence, but talk to us about that raise and that strategic investment and some of the institutions that have come on board.
Yeah, we had a very successful institutional-based capital raise. We went out to raise $40 million. We ended up accepting 50 million from North American, European, and some Australian institutions. So, 6 months ago, we were buying this project. Institutions would not invest in us. We weren't institutional grade, but we've really grown the company, gone from 30 million market cap to 350 million market cap. We are investment grade for institutions. So we raised that 50 million from very good quality, long-only institutions. And then on top of that, Hancock Prospecting, Gina Reinhardt's company, put in $22.5 million to become our largest shareholder. So they've also got a great pedigree in rare earths investments. They are the largest shareholder in MP Materials, very big shareholder in Lynas, so very successful track record in investing and developing rare earths opportunities. So we're very, very delighted that they've picked us as well.
And I want to point out to those people that are listening as well that St. George Mining did raise money only back in February at 2 cents a share. This recent capital raise was at 10 cents a share. So that I guess the graph is going in the right direction. But having said that, what's the use of funds going forward? Because I'm talking to you in December. We're coming up to the end of 2025. Cannot believe it. But what are you going to do? How are you going to? I guess for me, it's like protecting the treasury. And you said right at the start that you want to fast track this. So where are those funds going to be used wisely?
Yeah, basically two broad work streams. One is drilling. We're still drilling, expanding the resource, and also converting inferred category to indicated to underpin the economic studies. So we hope at the end of this drill program to go close to doubling the size of the resource. The drill results we've been announcing so far have been amazing. Just this week, we announced our thickest intercept of high-grade mineralization from surface. I'm sure there's going to be many more like that. There's nearly 40 drill holes in the laboratory still to come out with assays, and another 30 plus holes to be completed. So great drill program still to deliver. And the rest of the funds will go into the economic studies. This will be enough money to get us to FID, which we hope to have in the beginning of 2027.
Okay, so no more capital raise. You've got enough to get you to final investment decision. So that's it. We're done. Now it's all about, as you said, expanding the resource. I guess you've got to do the scoping study, feasibility study, and then the final investment decision. And that's what's coming for next year. Is that correct?
That's correct. All that work will be done next year, and we're fully funded for it. When we get to the point of actually developing a project, we've already had end users putting their hand up saying they'll give us prepayment finance, offtake finance.
Wow.
And as you flagged, the US is quite generous at times in helping funding. And we look very closely at the new US national security policy that was issued on the 4th of December. There's a section in there which says the US will be more proactive in funding projects overseas to secure critical metals for the US. So very keen to explore that angle as well.
I think it's also important to point out that you've got skin in the game as well, and your background actually is financing mines and projects in the past, and then you decided that you wanted to really take it to the next level and get your hands dirty and manage this whole project yourself. But you've got skin in the game as well, so you're in lockstep with shareholders, which I think is important.
Yeah, very much so. I've put about $3 million of my own money into this company since its inception. So very aligned to delivering a big outcome for shareholders. We think there's still a high multiplier return for shareholders if they invest right now in St. George. If you look at our market cap, $350 million. Compared to Mountain Pass or Lynas, they're up at $15 billion. Of course, they're producing, but our resource is really quite comparable to those guys. So as we start to close the gap on those project milestones, we should also close the gap on that valuation.
What's your biggest challenge right now, John?
We're really, really lucky to have a de-risked project. So the infrastructure is already in place for our project. We've got a great team, in-country team, very experienced engineers that know how to build mines and operate mines. We've got a very cooperative, helpful government. We had an open day at Araxá just last week. Governor Zima, the governor of Minas Gerais, came there and spoke in glowing terms of how St. George was developing this project and how it would contribute to economic diversification in the region and the state. We've got the local council supporting it. Obviously, they want jobs and prosperity for the area. So at the moment, everything is going really, really well.
Is it, and again, I said right at the start, this is niobium and rare earth, and we've been talking a lot about niobium. And I'm not a geologist, so I don't really fully understand it. I'm sure some people out there are the same as me. How does it hang together, if you like, the niobium versus the rare earth? And what's I guess the niobium is the focus, is it?
We want to monetize both. They're both in big demand, so we definitely want to deliver both to the market. Niobium is the easy product to produce. Okay. It is really just a fairly simple flotation process. It's been produced by our next door neighbor for more than 40 years. Our guys ran that business for them for many years, so we know exactly how to produce the niobium. Fairly simple flotation process, fairly low cost capex, maybe $80 or $90 million capex, still to be confirmed. So definitely we'll be producing niobium, I think, first. The rare earths will follow after that. The rare earths, we probably need to do a little bit more metallurgy on it just to confirm the exact flow sheet. But the grades we're seeing, the quality of the mineralization we're seeing is really fantastic, and I'm sure we'll come up with the right flow sheet for that as well.
So would I be presumptive in saying that the niobium could then fund the development of the rare earth side of the company? Would that be correct? Because you're going to fast track the niobium, that gives you cash flow, then you can go into the, I guess, the more complex rare earth products.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. The niobium is phenomenally profitable business. You'll have to wait for the scoping and feasibility studies to see those numbers, but I assure you it's phenomenally profitable. Yeah, that profitability, cash flow generation will go a long way to funding the rare earths business as well.
And just a moment ago, I'm talking to you in December. Just give us a brief, if you could, a summation of what people can expect from your news flow in 2026.
Yep. So we're still drilling, as I said, more assay results coming out. That will culminate in the resource upgrade, probably around March next year. Expect a much bigger resource. Expect a very large portion in the indicated category. That will then flow into the feasibility study. We may do a first feasibility study just on niobium because that's the easy play, and then follow with another feasibility study for the rare earths play in third quarter of next year. And throughout the year, we'll have updates on the pilot plant construction. The previous owner had a pilot plant. We're putting it back together and enhancing it. And we're putting it into the local university in Araxá. That's won us a lot of brownie points. And we'll be making sample products by probably third quarter of next year as well. So very, very good project milestones will be delivered next year.
You just said something quite interesting about the previous owner. Did they have a plant there? Is that?
Yeah, they actually had the project for phosphate. It didn't stack up as a phosphate mine, but they ran a pilot plant on rare earths. And that pilot plant did produce a rare earth oxide, very high purity, 99% purity, 86% recovery. So we know we can produce a rare earth end product of very good quality. We want to try and make it a little bit better and cheaper than they did. And obviously, there's been a lot of improvement since the 2013 pilot plant study that they did. But it was a 9-month trial program, so very reliable results.
Is so again? Is the plant there? Can you reuse it, repurpose it, or do you have to start again?
Yeah, no, the plant is there.
Okay.
We'll be enhancing it. We'll make it a bigger plant. It'll have 200 to 300 kilo per hour capacity. So it's quite a large pilot plant. Probably going to spend about $5 million just reconfiguring it. So you can produce everything from ferroniobium, rare earth concentrate, MREC, and also rare earth oxide. So it's going to be a very good pilot plant.
And finally, John, you said that the funding you've got at the moment takes you to a final investment decision. Are you planning on taking this all the way through? This is going to be a mine. We're going to be producing. Sometimes people don't. Sometimes somebody comes in, and I also want to find out. Would you look at perhaps a joint venture? Would you look at perhaps somebody coming in and saying, "Look, let's partner with you"?
Look, we've already been approached, quite frankly, with other parties talking about mergers or 100% offtake and all sorts of other type of M&A deals. We're not interested in any of that at the moment. We know we can add a lot more value for our shareholders by taking this project forward. It is a very simple plan, a very simple business model. We can execute it. We have a top-rate in-country team. We're going to take this project much, much further.
So exciting times ahead for St. George Mining. Let's wrap it up, John, if you wouldn't mind, and give us 3 reasons why you think people should sit up and take notice of St. George Mining right now.
We already have a world-class resource in both niobium and rare earths, and it's only going to get bigger. The big resource upgrade will come in March, and that's a huge re-rating event for us. I think you'll see a big change in our market capitalization because of that. The 2 commodities we're in, very stable, good project dynamics, market dynamics, I should say. Both niobium and rare earths in big demand. So they've got a great long-term future. And our in-country team is really the pick of the bunch. They can deliver the project. They've got the depth of expertise. They've ran the CBMM business for many years. We can deliver.
Would be remiss of me finally just to ask you, what have you done with those projects in WA? Because it seems to me that all the focus is on Brazil at the moment. Are you offloading those ones, or are you, because the lithium market is showing signs of life?
Yeah, no, we still own those projects. We're still tinkering away with them because we still like WA very much. We'll have a think about something next year for those projects. They deserve a good future if those commodities more revived. Yep.
Okay, fantastic. So, John, thank you so much for joining me today on Making Money Matter, and Merry Christmas. We'll see you in 2026.
Thank you, Kerry. Merry Christmas. Thank you.